Welcome back to our Saints free agency show. Not only did the Saints bring in some new players for 2025, they locked in some players from 2024 that they didn't want to be without. One of those, defensive end Chase Young. He signed a one-year deal going into last season, and now he's locked in for 3 more. Last year, 66 quarterback pressures, 5.5 sacks. How can he build off of what we saw last season, JD?
Well, simple. When he gets his hands on the quarterback, he gets him on the ground this time, because he probably had about 12, 15 near sacks where he just had his hands on the quarterback or had the quarterback on the run and just couldn't get him on the ground. So hopefully he can build on that. But we know he can get to the quarterback. He can pressure the quarterback. Now it's just a matter of finishing the play and getting the quarterback not just on the ground, but sometimes you don't even care about getting him on the ground if you can get the strip sack while he's still standing. Those are the plays that really matter. And that's not necessarily, again, the sack. If you get the pressure and you force him into an errant throw that winds up into an interception, same thing. Actually better if you can get the turnover out of it. So hopefully he's able to do those things. But again, we've seen him get to the quarterback. Chase Young is a grown man on the football field. He is chiseled and he looks much leaner than his weight. So he's a guy who looks great. You know, as the coaches say, we like to say how he wears his pads, how he carries his pads. He carries his pads very well, and he's a guy who's got that explosiveness. So hopefully in these 3 years that he's here with the Saints, he's able to stack up some statistics that show exactly the kind of player he is.
Well, he's a player that said he absolutely loved being here with the Saints and was really excited about re-signing with them.
New Orleans is where I wanted to be. Like I said, my family loved it. I loved it. Just the culture down here, and you know, I love playing with this group of guys. I feel like I mixed right in with them, and you know, I had a lot of fun all year. You know, despite what was going on in football. So, man, it's a blessing. You know, I hit Mickey yesterday. I just had to thank him, you know, for believing in me, and you know, I'm working every day, so, you know, we're going to see.
Another player the Saints locked up for 3 more years was tight end Juwan Johnson. He has had such a journey, undrafted as a wide receiver out of Oregon, and now a tight end here with the Saints. He had career year last year, career yards, receptions, and then he added 3 touchdowns.
I'm just extremely grateful of where I'm at and where I'm going to go. And I feel like this just doesn't stop. Like, I don't want this to. I feel like me being 28, I feel like people put a limit on me and say like, oh, this guy's old, in a way, to be like, oh, I don't think he's, you know, going to make it to 4 more years, 5 more years. But I mean, if you trust God, I mean, I could play for another, you know, 6, 7 more years. And I think I'm not going to put a limit on myself, and I don't think anybody else should. So, yeah, this is a 3-year contract, but you know, I want to be staying in New Orleans for a lot longer than that. So I think for me, I'm extremely grateful. And I don't want this to be just a 3-year thing.
It's been impressive to see him grow over his time here.
But he made a really good point when he spoke to the media. He comes on late in seasons, and he wants to have that consistency from the beginning of the season. Because if he has that consistency in the beginning of the season, he might have 65, 70 catches and 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. But he does come on late in the season. Now, he is a guy who, as you mentioned, started as a receiver, segued to tight end, and has made a pretty good living out of it. And the good thing about these guys, Juwan Johnson, Chase Young, Justin Reed, other teams were after these guys, and they chose the Saints in free agency. Now, of course, financially, it makes sense to come to the Saints because they're going to pay you pretty good money. But you got to want something about the organization, something about the culture that drew them in, because the Saints were a 5-win team from last year. Saints changed head coaches. So something about the Saints culture drew those guys in and made them want to come here, and not just being from Louisiana and not just being in the program before, but something drew them back to the program to where they felt like they could be productive and they could have some really good times with the Saints. If Juwan Johnson is a healthy Juwan Johnson and the receiving core is a healthy receiving core, then the Saints will have a really, really productive passing game, I think.
All the players have always talked about the culture in this locker room, how much they enjoyed playing around each other, regardless of the wins and losses. Obviously, that's something they want to change, but they have definitely enjoyed being here. They did sign a couple one-year deals, so we have defensive tackle Nathan Shepard, safety Ugo Amadi, offensive lineman Landon Young, wide receiver Dante Pettis, and linebacker Nephi Sewell. Who are you circling as somebody that has the most potential to make an impact this year?
Well, probably two of those guys. Sewell, because he plays linebacker, and again, you need linebacker depth. And again, DeMario Davis is getting older. At some point, Father Time just catches up. It just does. But the guy I really think can make an impact is Dante Pettis. He's a receiver, and that's a need position. If he can stake himself in there, he could be that fourth guy for the Saints, hopefully, because he also plays special teams. And we know that the farther you go down the depth chart, the more likely it is you have to be able to add something in special teams. Now, we understand that Rashid Shaheed, when healthy, is the Saints' kick and punt returner. But in those situations where maybe Rashid needs a break, maybe he's had a big game production-wise on offense as a receiver, you can always put Dante Pettis back there to return the punts or the kickoffs and those things. So I think he can be a guy who can stick with this team. He didn't play a whole lot with the team, but they liked him enough, obviously, to bring him back. And I think there's a reason why they brought him back. I think he's got some production in him.
A lot of familiar faces back here with the Saints. However, a lot of new faces on the coaching staff. These players excited for what's ahead. On the other side of this break, we will dive into what these new players have said about the new coaching staff.